Good morning, all of you. Now,
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
ma'am.
good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Good
beta.
morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning, all of you. Okay, so today, in continuation with the same civics chapter, our criminal justice system, we will have a look at filing a first information report. Okay, till now we have seen that how a criminal case proceeds in a court of law, and we also had to look at the role of the police. So today we'll have a look at how an FIR is filed in. Now, FIR is the short form for First Information Report, and the First Information Report, it is the, as the name suggests, it is the first-hand information of a crime or an incident which is recorded by the nearest police station officer who is on duty, and on the basis of the FIR, the police they start the investigation. So in a criminal case, the investigation begins after the filing of the FIR. So the first thing is file an FIR, and on the basis of that, the police they will start their investigation. Now, FIR can be lodged in by the victim, or by any other person on behalf of the victim, or by any other eyewitness also. And the law, it says that it is compulsory for an officer who is in charge of the police station to register an FIR whenever a person gives information about a criminal case or about a crime that has been committed. So the police officer on duty, he has to file the FIR, because as more the delay, so now it becomes more difficult to gather the evidences. And this information of the first of the crime, now this can be given to the police either orally or in writing also. And normally an FIR is filed in the police station under whose jurisdiction is area of authority, under whose jurisdiction the crime has been committed. And the FIR, in the FIR, the date, the time, the place where this crime has taken place, and the other facts about the crime, then in what sequence the things occurred, and so all that is mentioned in the FIR. Then it also has the name and address of the accused person. In some cases, obviously you don't know who the accused is. Like in case of a robbery, you come back home after vacation, and if your house is robbed, obviously you don't know who did it. So in that case, obviously there would be no name and address of the accused. But in case and that so and so person has done this, so the name and the address of the accused person, his identity, and also along with that the name and address of the complainant is a person who files the complaint, so his name and address is also to be there. And the FIR, for the FIR there's a particular form in which the police they register the FIR, and the FIR is to be signed in by the complainant, the one who goes to file the complaint. Now, although an FIR, like I told you, it is ideally lodged in the police station under whose jurisdiction the crime has taken place, but a situation may arise where the nearest police station, the police station near to you, it does not have the jurisdiction over the area where the crime was committed. And so, in certain cases earlier, what used to happen, that the police officer on duty, they used to say that no, we will not file the FIR because the case does not come in our jurisdiction. So according to a judgment given by the court in 1999, that was Satwinder Kaur versus Government of NCT of Delhi 1999. Now, it stated that now this cannot be the cause or the ground to refuse registration of the FIR. So even if the uh, the case or the crime does not come under the jurisdiction of that particular police station, but still they would have to file the FIR, because otherwise this would cause a delay in the collection of the evidence. And also, after the FIR is filed in, then only the police starts the investigation, and they go to collect the evidences and all that, and so it will cause a delay. And so according to the Supreme Court's verdict, the police station they have to file the FIR, and later on the matter, it can be transferred to the concerned police station. The Supreme Court has also ruled under Section 154 of the Criminal Procedure Code that the police, they have no choice but they have to register the FIR, and the complainant, he also has a legal right to get a copy of the FIR from the police. Now if the police officer on duty, SHO, the station house officer, what if he refuses to file the FIR? You know, in certain cases it has happened that the police, they have refused, and this is not on the grounds that the crime does not happen in our area of jurisdiction. Sometimes they don't they are not willing to file the FIR. So what to do in that case? Now in that case, the complainant, he can go to the senior most police officer of that area, and usually the senior most police officer of the area is the superintendent of police or the deputy commissioner of police. And but what if this person also, he also refuses to file the FIR? So in that case, the aggrieved person, the person who is the grieving party, he can straight away appear before the magistrate, and he can get an FIR registered under the section 156(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code, and then the court, they will appoint an investigating officer to examine the case and collect the evidences. We have left one green box, so if you just turn the page, let's come back to that. Now you know, there had been complaints against the police regarding the ill treatment of the accused people, and so the Supreme Court, they have laid down certain requirements and procedures that the police and the other agencies, they have to follow while concerned with the arrest, detention or interrogation of any person. And these guidelines, they are called as the DK Basu guidelines. Now some of the points or the provisions included in the DK Basu guidelines are: first, that the police officers who go on to investigate or to arrest, now they need to have their clear name tags along with their designation written on it, and it should be clearly visible. Then a memorandum or a memo of arrest, it should be prepared at the... It will be better in a while.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Better might be because...
Ma'am, you are not audible. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Okay, have patience. Maybe it will become better in a while, or you can later on listen to the recording also. In that, there would be no lagging. Okay, so just have patience. Maybe it is just the network. It will become better in a while. Alright, so you know, a memo or memorandum of arrest, it should also be prepared at the time of arrest, and and that should include the time and the date of arrest, and this memorandum, it should be signed by at least one witness and countersigned by the accused person or the person who is arrested. Then the person who is arrested, detained or being interrogated, he has a right to inform his relative, friend or well-wisher. But if the person is living alone and he does not have a friend or relative or well-wisher in the same district, so then it is the responsibility of the police to notify the time, the place of arrest, and also the place where the person is held under custody to a friend or a relative within 8 to 12 hours of arrest. Okay, so now we move on to role of the public prosecutor. Now we know that it is the responsibility of the state to protect the citizens living there, and so you know, a crime against a citizen, it is considered as a crime against the state. So and you know, whenever a crime is committed against an individual, it is considered that that crime has not only been committed against that individual but also against the whole society. And so keeping all this in view, this in mind, the victim of the crime, he is represented in a court by the government, and this person, this lawyer, is a senior lawyer and is called as the public prosecutor. But if the victim feels that he needs to have one or more lawyers to present his case, so he can have one or more additional lawyers, and he is allowed to do so by the law. And now, if you remember the murder case involving the last chapter, Sandhya Jadhav case, and this case was known as the state of Maharashtra versus Sandhya Jadhav. So, what we mean to say is that in a criminal case, it is always the state against the accused, and the state is on the side of the victim. Okay, now the public prosecutor, he is a representative, as we have seen, of the state or of the government, and his role begins after the police investigating officer. He collects evidences and he produces a charge sheet in the court of law. Then the work of the public prosecutor begins, and the prosecutor, he conducts the whole case on the basis of this charge sheet and on behalf of the state or on behalf of the government. And it is the responsibility of the public prosecutor to act without fear and even without favor, and produce all the facts, the evidences, and the witnesses before the court, so that the guilty should be punished and the innocent should be set free. Now, who can be a public prosecutor? So, a lawyer who has the experience of being at least 7 years of practice at the bar. Now, bar is a professional association of lawyers. So, a lawyer who has at least 7 years of experience at the bar, he is only eligible for the post of a public prosecutor. And the candidates to be a public prosecutor, they also have to pass a certain examination, and this examination is conducted by the various state governments from time to time. Okay, now we move on to role of the judge. Now, the judge is just like a referee in a football match, or just like we have an umpire in a cricket match, and the duty of the judge is to decide the case on the basis of all the facts, the witnesses, the evidences that are presented before him, and he has to be impartial while delivering his verdict. And now, if he wants to clarify a few points, he can put up a few questions, but he does not participate in any interrogation or any pleading. And sometimes he adjourns the case to the next date. Now, this is so that both the parties, they get more time to work on the case and to furnish evidences and witnesses, and the judge finally decides on the completion of all the hearings and the facts that had been presented before him, the evidences and the witnesses that are presented before him, and according to the law, he decides the case. And if the accused is found to be guilty, then he is given punishment. Now, that punishment in criminal cases, it could be a death sentence, life imprisonment, or imprisonment for a certain time period of time, and all these could be with fine or without fine. And the judgment he gives orally as well as in writing, and he also tells the reason that why he has given this judgment, and on the basis of what provisions and what articles. So he cites relevant articles also, that according to article so and so he has done this and this, and so he is given this punishment. But if the convict or the accused is not found guilty, then he is declared innocent and he is set free. Now, our system, it provides that everyone should get a free trial, and the prosecution, so they have to prove beyond any doubt that yes, the accused is guilty. And the whole judicial system, it hangs or it hinges on the point that no innocent person should be punished. So no person is should be punished till the time he is said to be guilty by the law or by the court of law. Now, first of all, we know that we have an independent judiciary, that we have already done in the previous chapter, and there are various provisions in the constitution which provide for a fair trial, like article 21 of the constitution, the criminal procedure as well as the civil procedure code. They all provide scope for a fair trial. Now, if we go through the story of Sohan Singh and Ramesh Sharma that we started the chapter with, now what if the court has not given a copy of the charge sheet to Sohan Singh. And if you remember, Sohan Singh said that he cannot afford a lawyer for him. So what if the court had not appointed a defense lawyer to Sohan Singh? And what if the trial did not happen in an open court and in public view? And but we know that if all this had happened, then it would not have been a fair trial. But nothing of this sort happened, and all precautions were taken to ensure that every both of the parties, they got a fair trial. And so Sohan Singh, he was given a copy also of the charge sheet by the court, and it contained all the charges against him and all the evidences and the statements of the witnesses against him. And then he was also provided with a defense lawyer, and that also at the expenditure of the state or the government. Then the trial, it happened in an open court in full public view, and the trial took place in presence of both the victim as well as the accused. And Sohan Singh's lawyer Raman Pandey, he was given full freedom, full opportunity to cross-examine the witnesses that were presented by the public prosecutor, and he was also given a chance to present his own witness, but that was found to be false. And so the public prosecutor, he was able to prove beyond any doubt. He gave suitable evidences and witnesses to prove that the accused was guilty, whereas the defense lawyer, he failed to prove the innocence of the accused. And the whole scene, the judge also, he does not simply in the beginning jump to the conclusion that okay, yes, the accused is guilty and we will give him punishment. But he decided the matter on the basis of the facts and the evidences and the witnesses presented before him. And throughout the scene, he remained impartial. And since he had the doctor's report before him, the blood-stained shirt of the victim, and the witnesses which were produced by the prosecution, now they also proved the guilt of the accused. And so he was given a punishment of 1 year imprisonment and a fine of 5,000 rupees. And so justice was finally done to Ramesh Sharma, because he was given a fair trial. And we have seen talked about the rule of law also, that it means that everyone is equal before the law. Now what that means is that everyone is equal before law without any discrimination on the basis of any difference that we might have. Now those differences might be on the basis of caste, creed, gender, religion, social status, education. So there should be equality before law for all people, irrespective of any difference that we might have. And then only we can have a fair trial. Now therefore the constitution and the civil procedure code as well as the criminal procedure code, they lay down certain provisions for a fair trial. And but this fair trial can only happen if all the people involved, they carry out their responsibility according to the law. Okay, so that was the chapter. Have you all understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so let's mark the exercises. uh, Question answers I'll send you in the form of a PDF, but let's mark the exercises. First, multiple choice questions. On the basis of the
3 months.
let me finish the question. On the basis of investigation into various aspects of the commission of a crime, the police have to file a charge sheet in the court within a maximum period of
3 months.
right 3 months.
3 months.
Okay. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody has to be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of
24 hours.
24 hours. Correct. Which of the following statements regarding an FIR is incorrect?
FIR is the short form of full information report.
Okay, so option D is you mark option D. FIR is the short form of full information report. Next, which of the following statements regarding a public prosecutor is incorrect?
Ma'am, option D.
Okay, again option D. The public prosecutor usually
option
defends the culprit. No, he does not defend the culprit. He defends the victim of the crime. Which of the following statements is incorrect?
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
option D.
D.
Option D again, we do not have an independent judiciary. That is wrong because we do have an independent judiciary. Who is empowered to investigate a crime?
Ma'am, police.
Police.
Ma'am,
Right, police. They invest. Yes, on the basis of the FIR, the police investigate the crime. Match the following. PP.
Public prosecutor.
Right, public prosecutor. FIR.
First information
report.
Okay, right. First information report. Article 22.
Criminal procedure code.
Right to be presented before a judge within 24 hours. Right to be presented before a judge within 24 hours. Defense lawyer.
Ma'am, defense the accused.
Defends the accused. Right. Rule of law.
Ma'am, equality before law.
Right. Equality before law. Dowry death.
Criminal procedure code.
Right. Criminal procedure code. State whether the following statements are true or false. Public prosecutor represents the interest of the state.
True.
It is true. The public prosecutor conducts the prosecution on behalf of the accused.
Ma'am, false.
False. He conducts the prosecution on behalf of the victim. So it is false. A criminal offense is regarded as a public wrong.
True, ma'am.
True.
True.
The complainant does not have a legal right to get a copy of the FIR from the police.
False.
False. False. He does have a legal right. A charge sheet is submitted by the investigating officer of a crime.
True, ma'am.
True.
Ma'am,
Yes, that is. Yes, true. Okay. So those were the exercises, and I'll be sending you the question answers in the form of a PDF. Okay.